Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast for and by successful business people who also deal with the pain and frustration of chronic illness. Here's Nancy Becker.
Today, we're going to be talking with Lyn Lindbe, the author of the 6-time award-winning book, Couch to Active, the missing link that takes you from sedentary to active. She's the host of the Couch to Active podcast. She's a blogger, speaker, coach, fitness influencer, certified personal trainer, certified Pilates instructor, certified group fitness instructor, and president of Couch to Active. She's also the author of an upcoming program, How to Start Exercising Again. She calls herself the Bad Couch Guru because she believes life is better with a wink and a smile. Welcome, Lyn.
Yeehaw. Thanks for having me on, Nancy. So great to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. I usually tend to stay away from the physical therapy type, and health and wellness coaches for a reason that I'll go into. But you talked me into it, and I think it's something that my listeners should hear. So we're going to get right at it. And
awesome.
I am going to hit you with a hard question right
Absolutely.
up front.
Right up front, man.
Yep.
Not going to warm me up or anything.
Nope,
okay.
I'm not, because this is something that is a burning issue for me.
Okay.
So I want to, I'm going to come out swinging a little bit. So let's see what we got here. For many people that are, and for a fact, your husband's got a chronic illness.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some things yourself.
You
understand what it means to hurt, to be sick, to have depression, to have all of the things that people with chronic illness have. You get it. So often people in the health and wellness field don't.
Yeah.
And I have asked, I did a poll the other day just for this purpose, because I wanted to see what my listeners thought. And I said, the question was, what do you think of people who are in this field in general?
Sorry, I'm laughing. This is good. This is good, Nancy.
the answers are probably not what you want to hear, but that's why I want you to, argue against them and tell us why we do need to listen to these things.
All right.
Most of the answers were things like, so many of these people that are in the field don't understand chronic illness, and they'll talk about, well, all you need to do is lose weight, or if you just get up off the couch and get going, you'd feel 100% better. Take my magic elixir and you'll be well for all time. And my listeners go, they don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah. So let's take a look at that. Yeah. And address that a little bit. I got to tell you, Nancy, I think that if I had not had chronic illnesses myself, and I have 3 I'm really open with. I've got fibromyalgia, which, puts me in a spot where, I'm doing backflips and being a health nut, not to be a health nut, but to make it so I can function the next morning, because you never know what morning you're going to wake up unfunctional and what morning you're going to feel great for a couple hours. And I'm missing 30% of my lung function. So no matter how perfectly I train, I will never, ever come in the front half of a pack. Anywhere, but I'm doing it, but I'm trying. I do what I can. And then I've got, women don't like to talk about, but I've got collagenous colitis, so that one is just, I have to really watch what I eat there for obvious reasons that women don't like to talk about, but I found out that we all have issues. So
I got
but
two. I got two of them.
you got two of them. We can be fibro sisters. Yeah. And so that's really, I think, having those experiences and seeing my husband with rheumatoid arthritis, it really does help me understand more that concept of some days, for it feels like no good reason, I can feel horrible, and then my brain goes into this dark, hopeless place. And I've learned to recognize it and kind of do this like out of body, like, okay, you're just in that dark, hopeless place. It feels like you'll be here forever, but you just have to wait it out. You don't know if it'll be days, weeks, or hours. And until I figured that out, it really was dark. But yeah, so then when fitness gurus come on and they're, obviously it's the sweaty 6-pack bikini body, you can be like me, you just have to do it, and do this workout and take this protein powder. It seriously, I recoil against that, because one, I don't want to have to pay for a protein powder every month. That's super expensive and multi-level marketed. I don't want to be told you have to do these video exercises in this way. Oh, and by the way, so we can be, inclusive of all people, we're going to put a fat lady in the back. So then, yeah, I know, exactly. So, yeah, so it's really kind of my hot button. And sometimes I even struggle with my own company name, Couch to Active, because a lot of us, none of us really are just sitting on the couch being lazy. We aren't, if you have a chronic illness, you're on the couch for a good reason, and you really need to be there. And in fact, what people don't know is a lot of times when we have chronic illnesses, we actually have more grit and self-discipline, and we get up sooner and faster than any of our fit friends. And if our fit friends felt like we did, like, there's no way they would get up and just plow through like we do. So yeah. And just since you and I talked, Nancy, now that we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic and quarantine, one thing that's really, what some of my favorite quarantine jokes are in the chronic illness communities, where everyone's like, welcome to our life, this nothing changed for us, except now maybe people have more empathy of what it's like to be stuck at home, and so yeah, so that's the piece, is really, I approach it differently, and I have it in that the concept of, I'm not here to make you get a bikini body. I'm not here to make you get super fit. I'm here to help you figure out this whole exercise thing, in the best way you can possibly, that will help you love your life more. And I want you to own what you do and choose, it's really is your life. If you are able to exercise more and you choose not to, and you're aware of that, then that's your choice. It's your life, right? But maybe you want to exercise more, but you think, I hate the gym. I hate these workout videos. I don't want to wear spandex. There are no yoga pants that fit me right. Then we look like let's relook at this whole exercise thing and help you understand that you can really brainstorm outside of it and get activity in your life in a way that's not a gym and weights and videos and stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because one of the things that I've had for 30 years is fibro. I had fibro before anybody knew anything about it.
Yeah.
And in fact, a group of doctors back then told me, well, this is what we do for people who complain of pains like this and we can't find anything. We give them frontal lobotomies.
Oh my gosh, I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
Because that was back when they thought fibro was just all in your head.
Yeah. So I've had it for a long, long time. And I realized eventually, and prior to moving back here to Michigan from Washington, D.C., I was walking 2 miles a day. and the fibro had almost totally and completely vanished
Wow.
because I didn't have it all that badly. Evidently, I had it horribly, and it had
Yeah.
all kinds of things with it. But because I was out there and I was moving and I had gotten through it,
Yep.
it was in abeyance. I
Yeah.
also have in what I've got now, which is the fibro's back. When I moved from DC to Michigan, the stress and everything and dealing with sick parents and all of that
Yep.
made it come back, tenfold.
Yep.
The other, and I've got probably 10 different things, but the other major one that I have is something that's called complex regional pain syndrome, which is
Yeah.
nerve damage that
Yep.
I got from the car accident I was in 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That has gotten me so that I cannot move. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot, put any weight on my one leg that was hurt in the car accident. Now I've had surgery on the other leg, and so I can't walk at all because I can't put weight on either leg.
Yeah.
That's really hard for someone who was active, who thinks the word active, and I understand it and I agree with it in many levels, but it gets me. It just
Ah.
really, it's like
Yeah.
fingernails on a chalkboard kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's interesting because I have to tell you a little story about when you said we have more grit and determination and get up and
Oh,
go.
heck yeah.
I was here by myself in the bedroom the other morning. I didn't feel good. I was in bed. My wheelchair was right there. My husband was not in the house at the moment, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I kind of scooted myself out of bed and into the wheelchair, look around because we have two cats, look around, didn't see anything, and started to back the wheelchair up. I hear this scream like you've
Oh.
never heard before in
Oh.
your life. And I quick stopped and looked, and I was this close to running over my kitten.
Oh.
And I then screamed at her, Tinker, are you okay? Scared her. She got up and ran like the wind out to the living room. And before you know it, I was out here in the living room. I wasn't in my wheelchair. I had run on
Whoa.
2 feet that I can't walk on. I had run out to the living room to make sure she was okay. So,
Wow.
you can do it. But for the next 3 days, I've been in bed with the most extreme pain you can ever in your life imagine. Knock on wood, today I'm feeling a little bit better because I was able to rest.
Yeah.
But we do things when we have to, you know.
Well,
It's
and that's part of the chronic illness, mind brain tease. And what's so confusing is sometimes the body can do a little burst, right? And or maybe you have an event, or a wedding you want to go to, and so you'll spend a whole week doing everything you can to take care of yourself and get ready for that, and then you show up to the event and people are like, oh, she looks great, she looks fine, she's like, what's she complaining? And you're still in pain, you're still putting on the smile because you just want to feel normal for a few hours, and then you go home and you sleep for another week, and it just kind of is what it is. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
tricky.
And I tell my listeners often, I'll say things like, I felt so much better today. I was feeling really bad sitting in this house, curtains closed, it was dark, it was yucky. I
Mm,
had my husband take me out onto the back porch, got a little bit of fresh air, got some sunshine. I'm feeling so much better. And then I get somebody writing, well, you can just be lucky that you can do that. And I'm going, it's not the fact that I was able to get out, it was that I got something to keep my mind occupied,
yeah. Yeah.
and I think that's a health issue as well. We need things to get us out of depression. We need to be able to do what we can. When I hear, you know, um couch to active, I think, oh, that means I can eventually get up off of this couch and get busy.
Well, and that's the thing is the aspiration and hope, right, is that a lot of us can, but we go through and we say like, okay, first of all, we're humans and our body needs exercise. And regardless of whether or not we have a chronic illness, the body really benefits from exercise. And that's the push, is when you're in a space where you know, okay, but this is my reality. Like, I am in a wheelchair. I cannot, except to, run 10 feet across the room to save my kitten, you know. It is my reality. And so then what I see then is it's that frustration that comes in, and it's that mental battle of like and it really, the quote or the term I've come up with of my body is not able to keep up with my spirit.
I love that.
I do too, because it's like you have this spirit in you and your body just won't do it for you. And you're not asking it to run a marathon. You're just asking it to do stuff.
I just want to be able to get up off of the couch and go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And so that we actually talk about barriers, and what barriers do you have, and folks with chronic illness know really well, okay, I've got this chronic illness, it's a barrier that's here to stay, but I can do blah 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 to help that barrier. We know that already. And then we take it a step further and say, okay, even after all of that, what do you do when you have a barrier that's really here to stay? And that's where the hardest work comes in, is making peace with that barrier and figuring out how to make peace with it so you're mentally in the best space possible in an environment where the fitness industry does continue to tell you you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not sexy, you're not whatever, And in a society that's still very fat phobic and discriminates against fat in a big way, in a society where how much you weigh is a secret, guarded more carefully than how old you are, it's tough. It's really tough. And so we talk about that, like, how do you make peace with that? And just really own it and guard yourself against all of this negativity around you that's going to try to beat you down and make you feel like you're not worthy and not good enough. And then you go on and live your life from there. And that's really what it's about. Is really, Couch to Active came out of me being frustrated at all the regular fitness stuff out there, or fitness BS, I call it. No, excuse me. Yeah. Fitness industry brainwashing, fib, or fitness industry BS, whatever you want to call it. It's really just like, no, let's look at our lives and let's be realistic about what's going on and get ourselves into a healthy place. I almost, halfway through writing Couch to Active, I almost shifted it into a more general life book. But then I realized, no, I'm going to keep it focused on exercise. And if you can work through that, then a lot of these skills translate into other areas of your life.
Yeah.
So,
how does someone, love to work with you, and I want you to tell people how they can get a hold of you and help you. But for me, I'm going through a whole bunch of things. I do have stomach issues. I have Crohn's, I have IBS, I have all these things. I'm on this low FODMAP diet that gives me only about protein, is about the only thing I can have to eat. You can't have gluten, you can't have dairy, you can't have it. And with my diabetes and these things, I can't cook. So the only thing I eat is something my husband puts in front of me, and he tries, but he's not a gourmet cook. And so he'll say, what do you want for dinner tonight? And I'll wind up saying, oh, I'm not really hungry, let me just have a bowl of cereal. So I get a bowl of cereal. I am never hungry. One meal can last me 4 meals, because I'll eat 2 bites and I'll be done with it. Yet I'm gaining weight. And part of the fact of that gaining weight is because I'm not walking my 2 miles a day any longer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going, all right, how do I do this? We try to buy diet plans and can't find anything that we're going to eat because they're all fancy, this and that.
Yep.
We've tried to get a home chef. That doesn't work. It's so how does someone do, how do I get the exercise that I need? I can't use my right arm. I can't use either one of my legs. How do I get out of this wheelchair and exercise? How do I eat the things I'm properly supposed to eat? And
Mm-hmm.
how do I get some of this health back?
Yeah. Well, and I have a feeling, Nancy, that you probably
I'm
know a
the worst
lot of that.
person you've ever seen.
No, not not at all. My guess is no, not at all. I've actually have a brother-in-law who's been a C4, C5 quadriplegic for 35 years. And so he's, even more so. But not to compare,
No. My
So,
husband calls me his train wreck. So,
oh man. Well, I think in that case, I mean, you probably already know you're not alone, but it feels like you're alone a lot. It really
Yes, it does.
does.
And I think all of the people that are listening to this conversation feel
Yeah.
the same way.
Yep. You're not alone, but it feels alone. And how do you do it, all that? And really, we can only do what we can do today, right? We really only have each moment of each day. And your biggest work is kind of figuring out, like, what kind of mental and emotional energy do you have in this moment to do what you can with the resources you have today, and then leaving the rest of that mental emotional energy, if there's any left, to what can I do to show compassion to myself and not fight against my reality, not think of myself as a mistake, or think of myself as a failure, or think of myself as less than. And that's really where the big work is. And that physical stuff, it's like, yeah, it's out there and you do what you can, but dang, I mean, it's, figuring out how to eat and get back and forth from the bathroom. I mean, that's where you're at.
Yeah.
And it's okay. In fact, it really can't be any other way. Right. And so then it's just finding the peace with it. And really, Nancy, I'm so glad we met, because just your bright spirit and I mean, seriously, if you had a body that would keep up with you, like, nobody would be able to keep up with you, I think,
I think this is good because I'm stuck and people can actually work with me. But let's.
Are you ready to get started in your business but don't know how to make the first step? Nancy would love to help you. As a disability advocate and a successful entrepreneur, Nancy can make your business easy and help you earn more, have control of your time, and take care of your physical health challenges. Just go to businesssuccessunlimited.com and use the contact form at the bottom of the page to see if you're a good fit. Nancy is ready to help you reach your goals.
Let's take what we've been talking about now and kind of pivot a little bit.
Yep.
And we're still talking about the same thing, but now add in an entirely new factor. And that factor is owning and running a business.
Yes.
On top of all of this.
Yes, exactly. So you're busy on top of that. And so that's where it comes to looking at and owning. We have a whole section called Own It, where you just really where I really help people get empowered and feel empowered to really own their life, figure out how to really own your schedule, own your sleep.
I want to sell mine.
You want to sell your...
I don't want to own it. I want to sell it.
What is that? There's a Netflix series, Altered Carbon or something, where you get to change a body, Yeah.
I just had my birthday on Saturday, and I told my
Aw.
husband I was really, really mad at him because my one birthday present that I wanted him to get me, he didn't get me. And he goes, "Well, what is that?" I said, "I want a body transplant, thank you."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't it be great? It would just be so, so great. Yeah. So in that case, Nancy, I think part of owning a business for you too, don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think it's also you owning your life and saying, okay, my body won't do this for me now. It might improve, but holy cow, the road is like decades ahead of me.
I can leave
And
that alone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I'm gonna take what I can and make the most of what I have. And so I'm gonna do this business and this podcast. And I'm gonna get Lyn on Couch to Active on and like really challenge her on everything, which is I love this, by the way. This is
Good.
because it just highlights all the good stuff. Yeah, and then just letting go of that mantra of I got to get on a treadmill someday, because that's not your reality and it probably never will be, and it's not okay, but it's okay. you know
Yep,
it's not
absolutely.
okay, and if you could choose, you absolutely probably would. Obviously you said for your birthday you want a transplant.
Yeah, I want to be able to just get up and walk from the couch to the front door, down the ramp, and out to the car. I would give anything to be able to do that,
Yeah.
you know? And but the problem is we don't until we get into this position, we don't understand it.
No.
And it's like you said earlier, if I were not in the wheelchair, you know I've only been in the wheelchair since my last surgery a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
if it were prior to that, you would look at me and I walked with a cane. And people would say, "Why are you walking with a cane? That's just because knowing me, it wasn't just this dumb old metal cane. I have this fancy hand carved wooden walking stick, It's all,
Cool.
yeah, I'm gonna flaunt it if I gotta have it.
We got one of those too that my husband used all through his 20s.
I love it. But, they're saying, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with you." And that's the other thing that I hear from my listeners all the time is that you don't look like you've got any problems. You
Yeah.
know, there's obviously nothing wrong with you. You're lazy. You're faking it. I had to cancel a couple of days ago, Friday. I got an emergency call to the doctors because my foot, we were looking at my foot, and all of a sudden it had started turning red, and there were funny blotches and things all over it, and right at the incision. And my husband called the doctor, and he says, "I've never seen," and he's a paramedic, and he says, "I've never seen anything like this. I think you need to take a look at her." So I had to cancel all these appointments I had for interviews and things like this. And one person said, "Well, this is the second time you've canceled on me. Obviously, you don't think I'm important, or, you wouldn't cancel on me. So let's just forget the whole thing."
Tough.
Now, that is a two-sided message. Number one, for someone in business, that can be devastating to them,
Mm-hmm.
because someone just stuck their nose up at them and twiddled their fingers.
Yep. Yeah.
But it's also that woman needs to understand, I would much rather have been talking to her than trying to get out of this chair into the wheelchair. And this ramp that we've got is a brand new ramp, and it's only temporary, so I'm not even really sure how structurally sturdy
Oh
it is.
geez. Oh
And it's
geez.
really long and loops around my front yard. And my husband's always kidding me and saying he's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
push me. And I can see myself go sailing down the ramp and over the boundary wall on
Oh
it,
my
and
gosh.
I could
Oh
just see
my
myself
gosh.
doing this. So getting down that ramp is a challenge. Then and we have a pickup truck. So getting from the
Yep.
wheelchair up into the pickup truck, driving an hour, getting out of the pickup truck and getting into the doctor's office, and then doing the whole thing in reverse. I'd much rather be doing an interview
Yeah.
with somebody than going through all of that. So,
Oh, absolutely.
it's not that we don't take it seriously when we've got appointments and things. It happens. And I think from
Yep.
a business standpoint, we need to realize that those things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And that from the standpoint of the people that we work with or want to work with, they're going to have to understand what it means for somebody who is chronically ill.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's just part of the reality of it all. And you can't, well, you can do whatever you want to, but it's exhausting to spend a lifetime also explaining yourself, because you don't want to be the whiner. You don't want to be the one, because that's mentally not who you are. And part of the mental health rests on not identifying as somebody who can't. A huge part of the mental health is being, I can, and I'm going to, and yeah, it's just this whole crazy cycle.
Yeah.
For sure.
It'll,
And when you think about exercise, go ahead. The time that just getting out the door and in and out of the car is like more time than most people would spend at the gym anyway. So, yeah.
My husband says he's gonna have to take his camera with him next time because it's so funny watching me try to do these things.
Oh my gosh. That would be awesome. That
I
would
should
be
do it just for giggles sakes. I was in bed the other day and I dropped something on the floor. Here I am trying to reach it. My head is touching the ground. My feet are up in the air. I'm trying to get this thing off of the floor. And then I can't push myself back up to get back up into bed. And I'm going, help, help. It's crazy.
Oh my, it's crazy and it's real. And it's like, oh my gosh, that would actually be really great. Well, you seem brave enough to me. I'm getting to know you a little bit here, Nancy. You seem like you'd be okay with that.
Oh, I would be. It would be funny, and I'd put it up as a Facebook Live.
Oh yeah, that would be hilarious. People would love that because those are like you don't see it otherwise, right?
No. 90% of the time, there's very, very few nights that I don't go to bed crying myself to sleep. I hurt,
Yeah.
I'm exhausted, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. Why did all of these things have to happen to me? Why is it that, that I'm having to deal with this? Why is the world against me? But do you think I'm going to show that on a conversation I have with one of my clients? I do, because that's who I am and I want them to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't do it while I'm crying. I don't do it while I'm wanting to punch a hole in the wall. I'll tell them I felt that way. But anytime I'm out and about, people see me with a smile, and that's what it is. But
yeah,
people need to understand.
Nancy, I have a question for you. I'd love to ask.
Sure.
So I actually do spend time with fitness influencers, and for the most part, people in fitness, when we talk about these things, it totally makes sense for them. And they're like, yeah, that's so true. And that's so right. We just don't know like what the words are for it. So I'd love to have you coach me a little bit when I'm working with fitness influencers and the sweaty six-pack ab folks, who a lot of them are just absolutely wonderful people. What do you want them to hear? What does your audience want them to hear?
Exactly what we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to know that we would if we could, but we can't, so we don't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love that.
And don't make us feel guilty because we can't.
Yeah, exactly.
I really think And honestly, the fitness people, and the minute I said that I was working with chronically ill people, I have been getting blasted on Facebook and on LinkedIn by health and wellness quote unquote experts who are almost 100% direct salespeople.
Oh, yeah.
For a
Yep.
while on my personal profile, I said, if you're an MLM and all you're trying to do is connect with me to make a sale, go away.
Good. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.
I said, no, that may be too harsh. And I finally took it down. But, it, I had it there for at least a month because I was so fed up with it.
Yeah.
I don't want, I took one particular item for a while, and this was before I had a lot of these things. I was trying it because I didn't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and so I was taking this one thing. Instead of having hair growth and lush nails and all this stuff, my nails all cracked up and fell off, and I lost all my hair.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do essential oils because I have asthma,
Oh
and
yeah.
any smells just cause me to quit breathing.
But
You
yeah.
know, when you have, so I think another thing that I would like somebody to teach people is that in general, I don't care if it's health or what, you need to understand the person first.
Yeah. Amen. Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And I get hit with the whole multi-level marketing supplements and all I get, yeah, fitness influencers or actually protein powders. And oh,
Yeah.
the worst one was a bunch of supplements. And they're like, these are the best, supplements, and so endorses them. I'm like, you obviously haven't listened to a like not even the trailer of my podcast. Like
Yeah.
I am openly, saying this is not me. This is not who I do. I don't promote any of these. And well, we'll send them to you anyway. And they sent me like $250 worth of supplements. And I let them sit for months in my office. And then finally I had some fitness friend. I'm like, hey, who wants some supplements? And I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
shipped them. I'm not putting these in my body just to
No,
experiment.
I'm allergic to most medicines.
Yeah.
The doctors really go nuts trying to find um medicine that can help me. And so then when
Yeah.
I say that, they'll say, well, you need to talk to this person. They are a functional medical doctor and they can do miracles for you. And I'm going, no, you don't understand. I'm very, very, very careful
Yeah.
of what I put into my body. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to just try something to see whether it works or not.
Well, yeah, and you have to be. And I think that's one of the things that I've really learned too with myself and being in chronic illness communities is when you have a chronic illness, pretty much when your mind wanders, a lot of times it wanders to how can I improve my health? Like you're constantly Googling, searching everything. So to have people give you advice or things is it's kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
And
If
usually it's
I
something you've
ask
already looked at.
for it, yeah,
Yeah.
if I ask for it, that's one thing. Like I said, Lynn, how do I get a better diet? I'm asking for that. But
Yeah.
if you just came to me and said, hey, Nancy, we've been talking on this podcast, and I have this wonderful diet I want you to try, I'm going to go, eh,
Yep.
you know. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think those are the kinds of things that people in my community want other people to know.
Yeah.
We are not in any sense of the word normal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are less normal than others.
Well, and the fact that I learned recently a stat that surprised me so much. I didn't believe it, and I had to go and find it on a couple of reputable sources. And by golly, it's true. In the United States, if you are 40 years old or older, you have 70% of us have at least one chronic illness. If you and And, oh, excuse me, yes, 70% of us have one chronic illness. 40% of us have more than one. Yep, two or more. And so that was so eye-opening. And that's not even, ACL tears and joints and, that's just chronic illness. And so when the fitness industry is constantly pumping out things to get you in your optimal that's great when you still have your good health in your 20s and nothing's blown out yet, but that's not the majority of us.
Nope.
And so it's just a huge market. I would say market we've missed in a way of people who really, really want help, want to feel good about this whole issue, want to feel more grounded around the whole topic of what is exercise role in my life when I'm living, minute to minute or hour by hour. And it's just
so many of the things that I'm not talking when I talk chronic illness, there's a list of over 30 illnesses that fit the category of chronic, and that can be diabetes, it can be cancer, it can be, things like, I'm not talking that. I'm talking fibromyalgia. I'm talking complex regional pain syndrome. These are the things that are hidden diseases, but these are the things we're going to die from, because even though they're not like cancer in the way of dying, but they're the long term, 90% of us have depression because of these things.
Absolutely.
We have all of these underlying conditions caused by this one thing that are what are going to eventually just chip away at us and wear us down, and we're going to die from. And we need to focus on that and figure out how we can you're never going to lose your fibromyalgia. You're never going to lose the fact that you have 30% less breathing capacity. That's with you for the rest of your life.
Darn it.
So how do you, unfortunately, how do you make the very best life possible under those conditions?
Exactly. And that's what we were talking about, is just that piece of getting really real and letting go of fighting it and really looking at what can I do, and then doing that hard work of making peace with it and having compassion. And if we get lucky, the bonus would be being able to identify the hidden joy or the hidden benefit of, if I didn't have these chronic illnesses, I absolutely would be one of those fitness professionals who didn't get it. And so because of my struggle, I have a lot more humility and compassion than I ever have had before. And so that's the next, the beautiful piece of it, is really kind of forces you to really look at what's important.
I have to tell you a story. We are well beyond our time limit.
No, it's all good. Go for it.
I love it, but I have to tell you this story before we leave, because it fits in with everything we were saying. A year ago, I went to Florida to a podcasting conference. And there were, at this conference center, huge place, and there were at least 3 different conferences all going on at the same time, mine and a couple of others. Thousands of people in this place. We were in the bottom floor. So to get there, people walked up and down stairs or took elevators. I was the only person there that I saw that was in a wheelchair. I didn't see anybody with a cane. I didn't see anybody else that looked disabled. The first day of the conference, we had just gotten started. My husband had put me into one of the breakout rooms, and he'd put me all the way to the back of the room so that I would be out of the way, and other people could come in and all that. Perfect sense. It was one of the ones that everybody wanted to hear. So here's this tiny little room wall-to-wall people sitting on the floor, standing up, leaning against the wall. All the seats were taken. I'm jammed into this little corner in the back. He has left to go to the other side of this huge, big space to go hear a different breakout session.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. Fire alarm goes off.
Oh my gosh.
I could not get out of the room.
Wow.
Because back then I wasn't in an electric wheelchair. I was just in my regular wheelchair. No, I can't crank the wheel with one hand with all of these people in front of me. Nobody moving out of my way. Everybody just jamming the door to get out, trying to figure out how they're going to get out of this basement. Nobody knew that there were, on the one side of the building, we were actually on level ground, so there were doors out, but people didn't realize it because we had all come in and gone downstairs in elevators. So everybody's, I finally got somebody that pushed me out and helped me out and got me over there. And I see my husband running like in slow motion across this room to get to me. And we finally get out. We no more than get out than the all clear's called. We go back in and the fire alarm goes off for a second time.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
So that's the first thing that made me realize you've got this huge, big complex that should be ADA compliant and wasn't. You've got, and in fact, I sent a message to the planners of the conference saying, you really should have thought about this beforehand. And then, oops, we didn't. Not a clue. Did not think a thing about somebody not being able to maneuver well. So there's that. And then throughout the whole week that we were there, I was watching people. They would walk as far around me as they possibly could, as though I were contagious. It was the 6 feet of distance. Hey, you cannot catch a car accident, guys. I'm not contagious.
Thank God for that.
But it's the understanding or lack of understanding, and I don't even want sympathy. I want empathy, I think is the word. It's the lack of understanding and empathy for people who are different than you.
Yes.
And I think that's what I want to leave this conversation with is we need to know that whether we can get up and do 50 push-ups or whether we can even get up off the couch or not, we're doing the best we can, and we need to do the best we can. Very important is not to just let ourselves sit there and sink into the darkness.
Which is easy to do.
But we do need to do something, and for others to better understand what we're going through. And I think you've done a wonderful job of that.
Oh, thank you, Nancy. And thank you for sharing that story. The more I love people. I love that. I mean, I had to ask you a couple of questions because I just love learning. So, thank you.
Absolutely. And I think we need to have more town hall type meetings and I'm actually going to start doing that, where I actually have networking events on Facebook where we have people come and just talk to each other and share things. I'd love to have you be a part of that when I start doing it.
Oh my gosh.
You have some wonderful things to share.
Count me in. Thank you. Thank you.
As we get ready to shut this down, tell us, Lyn, how can somebody buy your book, get in touch with you, and is there anything that we haven't talked about today that you need to share?
The getting in touch with me, just Google Couch to Active or Lyn Lindbe. I'm just all over the internet there. It's really easy. Couch to Active. And I would say the one thing, if folks want to start and just kind of get to know me and my style a little more, is I have a Couch to Active app. And so you can just go to it doesn't matter whether you're Android or iPhone, and it's the easiest way to listen to the Couch to Active podcast, 5 minutes, 5 days a week. And we hit all kinds of crazy fun topics. And then if weird things happen in the news, I'll bring them on. Like there's some dude who got locked in his 24-hour fitness gym. And so I brought him on and I'm like, what was that like to be locked in your gym at 1 a.m.? So I know we have fun with it. So yeah, do that and just see where the path leads you. If it's right, it's right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has been a very interesting for me. I learned a lot. I got a lot out of it. We went way over what we were supposed to. So obviously this was a great conversation. Everybody that's listening, please, sign in, download this episode and the others that are out there. I have great speakers every week. You can hear us Thursdays at 5 p.m. at don'twaittillpigsfly.com. And I look forward to having comments, thoughts. I'm sure Lyn will answer any questions you might have. Just send them our way and we'll make sure she gets them and can answer them for you. And until next time, I can't really say get out there, but I can say, I still could say be productive and soar higher. Take care, everybody. Don't wait till pigs fly, and we'll talk again soon. Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.